All right, wide receiver, top five.
I got Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. Well, yeah, for now, assuming Josh Allen's playing, and then Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I got Cup Hill, Jefferson, Diggs, Adams. So same top five, different order, but yeah, obviously Diggs without Josh Allen bumps down. But remember, Minnesota is still pretty bad against number one
Yeah.
wide receivers. So I mean, even with Case Keenum, I think it would be a decent matchup for him. Yeah, Minnesota is 30th, excuse me, against number one
Yeah,
receivers.
so he'll be a play, even with Case Keenum. How about our boy Gabe Davis? Is he? I haven't crunched the numbers if Case Keenum's under center, but I can't imagine Gabe Davis is going to fare too well with that.
Yeah, it'd definitely be a downgrade. He'd
Uh,
probably be in the 30s.
at least.
Yeah, it's just challenge arm strength and willingness to throw. I mean, Gabe Davis could have had a much bigger game if he catches that ball at the
Yep.
end of the game against the Jets. But yeah, still, even with that, it would be a tough matchup. All right, who you hiring?
So it looks like I'm super high on Donovan Peoples-Jones against the Dolphins. Now, this is assuming David Njoku is still out, but I have Peoples-Jones as my wide receiver 27. It's weird to say, but the ECR is wide receiver 42. Look, had 5 straight games with 4 more catches.
Mm.
And last week without Njoku, they used Harrison Bryant mainly as a blocker. I don't even think he saw a target. I'll have to double check, but this is a very top heavy passing attack with Amari Cooper and Peoples Jones, dominating the target share. They were using Kareem Hunt as a wide receiver at times. So this is a matchup where you kind of hinted this earlier, Brissett, where Dolphins are a pass funnel matchup. They rank 31st in DVOA against the pass. Browns might have to throw just to keep up with this high octane offense that the Dolphins have. So Peoples Jones, like he's had a very high floor the past 5 weeks in a game where they could be throwing more. I love his ceiling as well. And then also have to go with Cortland Sutton against the Titans. He's my wide receiver 23 versus the consensus of wide receiver 30. He has definitely struggled the past 3 games. So I'm hoping, after this bye, he and Russell Wilson can get back on the same page. And that, the Broncos will probably throw more here against the Titans. We saw that with Patrick Mahomes, slinging around over 60 times against this pass funnel defense. That the Titans rank first in DVOA against the run now. So I think this is a matchup where the Broncos are going to air it out a little bit more. And Sutton's underlying usage has been pretty good lately. Just that, the box score hasn't been matching it. So I think he breaks out here and he's back on the low end wide receiver 2 range for me.
Yeah, I mean, do you think they'll shadow him with Fulton or Judy?
That's something later in the week. We'll see. I mean, Sutton hasn't been playing great late,
True.
so they could mix and match. I don't think they need to lock down either one. So it might be a 50-50 thing, because both are playing well. But that's something I definitely factor in once we get later in the week.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I was well on Valdez Scantling last week because I figured Fulton would be on him. I didn't look at the shadows, but the outside receivers didn't really do much against Tennessee, so that's why I asked.
Well, if you're low on Valdez Scantling, you hit that, right? That was he only saw 1 target on 63 attempts or something like that.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's why I asked
Insane.
about. I don't know if it was Fulton on him full time or anything, but I do know the Titans have been pretty decent against perimeter guys. After since getting mollywopped by Buffalo.
Yeah.
All right. I am high on Wandale Robinson. He's still outside the top 40, but first of all, we got a situation we love, which is rookies coming off a bye.
Yeah.
And also, even though he had a down game heading into the bye, he saw a season high 85% route participation. So he went 34% in his first game back, 78% in his second game back, 85% in his third game back. His targets per route is right around 20%. So the underlying usage is good. I think coming out of the bye, I think they'll really start to get him going. You can start seeing rush attempts and, being used kind of in that old Darius Toney role. So I like him against Houston defense. That's, they're going to play a lot of zone defense. So it's just, Robinson's going to just be a kind of run around and find some soft spots and whatnot. I don't think it's going to be too hard to get him the ball in this matchup, especially with an extra week to prepare. All right. Who are you low on?
I'm low on Brandon Ayuk against the Chargers. He's my wide receiver 34. Looks like ECR is wide receiver 22 right now. I think he's actually a good sell high candidate. He went off for 6 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown against the Rams right before the bye. But the 49ers were without Deebo Samuel and Juwan Jennings. So both are likely to return this week. Plus, having a pass catching back like Christian McCaffrey in this offense is just going to eat into everybody's target share going forward. So this week, especially against the Chargers offense, that probably won't be able to score much this week. And the Chargers have a run funnel defense. I just don't know if Ayuk's, deserves to be on that wide receiver 2 radar. So he's more of a low end wide receiver 3 for me, and just somebody going forward. I don't know if we can bank on the same sort of usage that we saw in the first half of the season. And this is scary to say, but Mecole Hardman, I'm low on him against the Jaguars. He's my wide receiver 45. The ECR is wide receiver 37, which, makes sense. He's been playing out of his mind lately. But he's been doing it in limited playing time. He's still in that 55% routes run range. 3 straight games with a touchdown. So that's something that we can't really bank on, just given how Mahomes likes to spread it around, especially in the red zone. So now, while Hardman hasn't really done anything to lose playing time, he is probably the most likely person to lose that to Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney going forward. I don't know if that's going to happen this week, but certainly later in the season that could come into play. So just Hardman's a guy that I think his ECR is just a bit too high because it's banking on recent, touchdown luck, I would say. But he's more of like a wide receiver 4 upside kind of play, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was the guy I was going to go with as well, Hardman. I don't think he can kind of survive on this touchdown upside. And there's just a lot going on in that wide receiver room. First of all, as I mentioned, I think it was just a matchup for Valdez-Scantling. So yeah. I think he'll be, back up at some point. And, you never know what they're going to do with Toney and some more as the season progresses. Like, how much are those guys going to eat in to Hardman's usage? As for a guy that's never, he's topping out at like high 50% in terms of routes run. So, yeah, I agree. All right, for the prop, let's go with Drake London. Let's get right to a Thursday game.
No, okay.
Drake London receiving yards, because it's been really tough against the Panthers last game. 2 weeks ago, he only had 31 receiving yards. Another bad game against the Chargers, just 23. So now he hasn't cleared 40 yards. He hasn't topped 40 yards since week 3. So I'm gonna go with 40 and a half. Will he top 40 yards?
I knew you were setting that up. I was thinking 40 and a half. That's my number. But yeah, looking at the game log, he had 40 in week 6, so he didn't clear it then. But God, I'm going to have to go with the under. And again, that's nothing to do with his talent. It's just this situation of just being an extreme, and I mean extreme run-heavy offense. So the fact that they are slight favorites this week concerns me with Drake London. But again, I mean, he has all the talent in the world. They're just not using him because they don't throw.
Yeah.
So, good line though. I mean, good line, but just have to lean under here.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I'm pretty worried about him.